Yo, virtual HSM, how's it going? My name is Caleb, and I'm one of the youth pastors at the Manheim campus. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just excited to pretend like we haven't been locked in our houses for the past 3 weeks. Because I'm not doing great. I was drinking coffee this morning, just kind of reflecting on things. There was 2 really harsh realities that all pointed to this fact. I suck at quarantine. Let me explain. 1, realized I'm polishing off at least half a bag of kettle-cooked potato chips like every other day. Not recommended. What I will say, kettle-cooked potato chips are one of the most comforting foods on the planet. Highly recommend in that regard. Not with any kind of frequency. Don't do it every other day. Second thing, way more embarrassing. Also feel like I'm probably gonna regret this. Last week, I wore the same pair of pants every day. Yeah, it's not great. Here's the logic that got me there. I figured, hey, I'm not wearing these pants out of the house, which means that they're not getting dirty. And if they're not getting dirty, they don't need to be washed. And if I'm not gonna wash them, that means I'm gonna save on water. And if I'm saving water, am I saving the planet? No, you're not. So, here's the thing. Change your pants, don't eat lots of bags of chips, and I hope that the quarantine version of yourself is way better than the quarantine version of Caleb. And while this has been such a crazy time, the thing that I've been so thankful for has been how uncomfortable I am. And I know that that's kind of a weird thing to say that you're thankful for, but I'm so thankful for it, and here's why. In our normal schedules and our normal routines, it is so easy to just kind of get lost in the monotony of it. We kind of put, God and faith in its own box and everything else in its own box and just kind of compartmentalize them. And when we're in our normal routine, it's like, well, I guess I'm going to take my faith box off the shelf and I'll go to church and I'll gather and I'll worship and maybe even I'll serve, and then I'll bring that box and I'll kind of hustle on home and I'll put it back up on the shelf and just kind of keep on living my life as normal. And then all of a sudden this virus rolls in. It's like, hey, routine, that's a funny joke. And it takes it all away. And it's like, hey, that weekly church routine you had? Nope. That daily school routine you had? Nope. That practice, that play, that whatever you had going on, all of a sudden it just kind of morphs together and it causes us to reevaluate everything. And frankly, I think it's that uncomfortable state, but I think God has us exactly where He wants us. All of a sudden we need to wake up every day and say, God, I truly do not know exactly what's coming up or what's around the bend or when this thing's going to be done or when things are going to get back to normal. But what I do know is that you're 100% in control and that I love you and that I need you, and what I need right now is just kind of enough for today. And what can make compartmentalizing our faith and kind of having our faith over here and everything else over there is that we start to cherry pick what God can speak into and what He can. So on one hand, we might say, hey, like God, I know you don't want me to watch porn. I get it. It's cool. I'm there. But I don't really want you to have any kind of opinion as to the friends I have. Or on one hand, like, hey, God, like, I know that you want me to not lie. I know you want me to be kind. I know you want me to be a good person, whatever that means. But then on the other hand, I don't really want you to have anything to say about the music that I stream or the shows that I watch or what I log into on YouTube. And that's what I want to lean into even just a little bit more right now, because I know that we're in a season where we are hopping on Instagram and TikTok and Spotify and YouTube and Netflix all the time. In fact, I'm pretty sure we broke Netflix a couple of weeks ago. Like, there were so many people streaming it that it just kind of fell apart. We are all engaged in all of those media outlets so much more right now, which makes it so much more important that we're thinking about it rightly. But why does God care about what I watch and what I listen to? What I want to do right now is open up to Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And Romans chapter 12, verse 2 reads like this. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. The first thing that you need to understand about this verse is that God's will for you is good and pleasing and perfect. So many of you, when we start talking about the music that we listen to and the shows that we watch, just start to get in this mindset of God is this cosmic fun sucker that doesn't want me to be able to watch what I want to watch or listen to what I want to listen to. And it couldn't be further from the case. Please understand this. And some of you, this may be the very first time that you've heard this before. If you're watching this right now, this is true for you, that God has a vision for your life that so far exceeds anything you could come up with on your own. God's will for you is good pleasing, perfect. We need to trust him, even with something as small as what we listen to and what we watch. The second thing is, did you catch how God wants to transform us? He transforms us by changing the way that we think. So often we tend to buy into this lie that the older that I get or the more mature that I get, I ought to be able to watch whatever I want and listen whatever I listen to, and it really shouldn't matter. When in reality, the truth is, no matter how old you are, what you take in influences you. So the question becomes, is what I'm taking in, is what I'm watching on Netflix, YouTube, the people that I follow on Instagram, the music that I listen to on Spotify, are those things taking me closer to what God has for me, closer to God's best for me, or are they moving me away from it? So what are we looking for when it comes to the media that we take in? Paul gives us a couple pointers in Philippians chapter 4. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. So some of you guys are taking in Corona updates like every 5 minutes. And the question that you just need to think about right now is, are those things even true? Start asking the question like, hey, is me constantly reading about these things actually helping me respond to the situation any better? Is it helping me take care of myself and my family? Is it helping me be a better neighbor? Because if you just keep reading it and reading it and reading it over and over and over again, it's just going to start cycling in your mind and you're going to get anxious about it. Some of y'all, like if you come to me and you're like, hey man, I'm super anxious about this whole Corona thing, and at some point it comes out that you watched Contagion on Netflix, I'm just gonna be like, dude, you are dumb. Like, you need to use your nugget, because the things that we take into our brain, they influence us. They're gonna change how you think, they're gonna change how you feel, they're gonna change how you act. Second thing, some of y'all need to start thinking about who you're following on Instagram. The question is this person helping me become more of who God created me to be? Is this person helping me move into what God's best is for me? If I'm going to hang out with this person, am I going to become more of who God created me to be? The people that you follow are going to influence you, and they're going to change how you think and how you feel about yourself. And then comes the music that we listen to on Spotify, right? Music has this crazy ability to constantly get stuck in our heads and just go and go and go. The question is, what hooks do you want stuck in your head going on repeat? Can I just help you right now? If it's country music, the answer is no. Some of y'all listen to country music and it's just like, I broke up with my girlfriend, so I'm driving down to the bar on my tractor with my dog. Like, I love that. That connects with me. Just stop. It's not good. So as we close, here's your action step. Do a media audit. What's that look like? Very simply, what am I taking in? Whether it's music, shows, movies, follow people on Instagram, whatever it looks like for you. And then ask yourself this bottom line question. Are these influences moving me closer to what God has for me or further away?